In this class, we're still talking about the soul, but the focus is going to be on an incarnation that the soul is having. And we're going to start off by talking about the life purpose. A soul is not all-knowing. It learns through its incarnations. And a separate life purpose is generated for each of the incarnations that it has. So when we look at a single life purpose, it's going to have a general theme. But from the time that you're born until your lifetime expires, there is 150,000 to 200,000 possible outcomes. It has a general theme, but because of free will, there's some variations as to how it's going to ultimately turn out. And all of those possibilities of all those outcomes are written into your life purpose. And depending on how you apply free will, it depends on where you wind up. But that's not all that happens. Because for every thought and choice and decision that you would ever make throughout your entire lifetime, there is also 150,000 to over 200,000 possible outcomes. Which means that you can be all over the place, even though there's a general theme. But with free will, you can have all kinds of possibilities that you can experience, trillions and trillions of ways that you can unfold in your own life purpose. And so whatever is agreed to that you're going to learn can be learned, but in many different ways. So it can be from the darkest dark to the brightest bright, or anywhere in between. So you have the opportunity to do those learnings, but it's through free will. And yes, there is a general theme. So you don't have just one destiny. You have a multitude of destinies because of free will. Now, how a life purpose is determined is kind of like having a group meeting of consciousness energies, and you lay out a plan. Primarily, it's between you and your soul that you come to agreement about what it is that you're going to have the opportunity to learn. Now, this gets maybe a little bit confusing because you are your soul and your soul is you. It's literally one and the same. But when a soul wants to have an incarnation, it takes seeds of its own consciousness and starts to form energy into what ultimately is going to be the life purpose for whatever it is that the soul is wanting to learn next. And so that part of your soul, meaning you and your soul, are kind of coming to agreement around how this is going to work out. Whatever it is that the soul is really wanting next is what the main focus is going to be in the generation of your life purpose. And so it's going to include all of the gifts that you'll have. It's also going to include all of the challenges that you're going to be facing, and everything it is that you're going to want to be learning, what the learning opportunities will be. But again, because of free will and choice, there's lots of different ways that that can occur, and it's all written into the life purpose. Now, when I say that it's you and your soul coming to an agreement on how this is going to be, let's take a look at the you part. Because when you have an incarnation, you also have the divine intelligence of your body and the spiritual essence part of you that forms that incarnated personality. But the divine intelligence of the body and the spiritual essence, they're parts of your soul. So when you have this meeting, you could say, okay, the soul is here and you are here, but you also have on your side of the table, so to speak, the divine intelligence of your body and the spiritual essence. Now, something else that's here at this group meeting would be any guides that have chosen through their own free will to work with you throughout your lifetime. They're there so that they totally understand and know everything there is to know about the life purpose that's being written for you. So they're going to have all of that information so that they'll be able to assist you during your lifetime. And in the center of this meeting, there will be a hologram of where it is that you're going to have your incarnation into a physical life form. But there's still something else that's at this meeting, and that would be the beings that are going to be encountered during your lifetime. This is where it gets really interesting, because there's going to be probably several of them. And it's going to include the ones that are very inspirational to you and the ones that are absolutely hellish. They're all going to be there. And any issues that are still unresolved are going to be taken into account while the life purpose is being written. Now, this is sometimes called karma. But karma really is kind of like undone homework. It's not necessarily this awful, awful thing. But it does take into account that there are things that are needing to be addressed still. And any energy that's needing to be addressed is going to be taken into consideration to be written into your life purpose. And that would include any leftover agreements that you may have from past lifetimes with other beings. It's also going to include any unfulfilled contracts that you may have had with other beings. And this is a little more complex, any webs that may still exist. Now that would be kind of like many beings that are involved in something, and so we call that a web. So then this discussion sort of takes place, if you want to look at it that way, about what's needed for the growth and the fulfillment of not only your life purpose, but what's also taken into account is the growth and fulfillment for all of those other souls and what it is that they are wanting to learn. And this is all written into your life purpose and into the life purposes of those other beings, including your mother, your father, your siblings. So, when somebody says, oh, you choose your own parents, of course, a lot of times you want to say, no, I didn't do that, but yes, you did. In fact, you all chose each other so that you could all learn from each other. And all of this takes place prior to your conception.